Just when you thought the growing global crisis could not get any worse, let me bring you to the next stage of panic. First, we had supermarkets drained of toilet paper. Then we had gun stores drained of guns. Now we have bank branches running low on cash as customers make big withdrawals because people seem to think that if the economy collapses, cash money will be valuable. No. There's no, I don't see a point in going to the bank and taking out cash because if you're really concerned about the bank collapse, if you're really concerned the FDIC can't insure your money, then your money's not going to be worth anything, dude. I'll tell you what. How about you use your credit card or debit card like normal and go buy things that are helpful, like, I don't know, camping equipment or like water or something. But of course, people don't think. You know what's funny is I love it when people say things like buy gold in the event of like a market collapse, as if like the apocalypse came about and your gold is going to be worth anything. So, okay, I'll be fair. If there's a market tank, but everything's still intact, gold can be a great place to store value for sure. I mean, I have a little bit. I'm not a big, I don't go out and do this stuff. But if the apocalypse truly does come and you see someone on the street corner with a gold coin, are you going to care? Can you eat or drink gold? Can gold be used to help you survive? I mean, maybe if you're smart, you can whittle into some conductive filament or something. I have no idea. But I'll tell you what, if you saw someone on the street corner on the left, someone on the street corner on the right, one guy was like, I would like to purchase some wares from you, good sir. I have gold. You'd be like, uh-huh. And the guy over here is like, I've got a bottle of water. You'd be like, give me the water. Water's way more valuable. Water is needed to live. But you know what? Of course, people are going to freak out, run to the banks. And I'll tell you what, I will say it again. I will read the story. If it ever came to the point where the banks were going to collapse, then I'm sorry, man, you got bigger problems than needing cash at this point. I hope you know how to hunt and start a fire. Which reminds me, I'll give you a pointer. Download Survival Guide when you get the chance to your phone. Not because the world is ending, but because sometimes people get lost in the woods. It's that simple. The Wall Street Journal reports some branches of U.S. banks and credit unions have run low on cash as customers make big withdrawals, prompting regulators to warn that they are putting their money at risk. Though no precise tallies exist, industry officials describe dozens of incidents across the country, often in affluent neighborhoods of such cities as Seattle and New York, where people have withdrawn tens of thousands of dollars at a time. I swear. The withdrawals, you know what? No, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's because they're out of toilet paper. Hey, the withdrawals, I'm kidding, by the way. The withdrawals, sometimes reaching $100,000 or more, appear to be motivated by financial market tumult over the coronavirus epidemic. In one incident, an elderly couple withdrew some $250,000 all at once earlier this week, an industry official said. In response, banks and regulators are warning consumers that it's a mistake to keep large amounts of cash at home, where it can be lost to fire or flood or stolen. In contrast, each deposit account at a bank or federally insured credit union is backed by the government for up to $250,000. Your money is safer at an institution than if you put it in your pocket, said Troy Stang, president and chief executive of Northwest Credit Union Association. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation issued a press release on Wednesday to remind consumers that insured deposits are safe. In bold letters, the agency said since 1933, no depositor has ever lost a penny of FDIC insured funds. Said one banking official, it's easier to rob you than it is to rob a bank, which is federally insured and physically secure. Other banking groups are appealing to individuals worried about the spread of germs in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. Paper money, in short, is dirty. I read somewhere, this could be fake, that there's trace amounts of cocaine on every dollar bill or something. Because you know what people do when they party, they roll up their bills, right? Keeping cash in the bank is a prudent defense against contamination. The Colorado Bankers Association said in a press release on Wednesday, a single dollar bill can be home to as many as 3,000 different bacteria. Okay. All right. You know what, man? We get it. Let me be real with all of y'all. You don't need to withdraw all of your money. That's ridiculous. I personally think it's smart to have some cash, just because you should always have some cash. But if it really came down to it, and the FDIC could not insure your money, dude, you've got so much worse to worry about. So chill, people, chill. Industry officials say there is no danger depositors won't have access to their money. The Federal Reserve has plans in place to address a range of contingency situations. To date, we have not experienced pronounced spikes and have had no difficulty meeting demand for cash. Banks must set aside a pool of cash called a reserve to cover a share of the deposits owed to customers. Most banks deposit most of that reserve with their regional Federal Reserve Bank, keeping enough in their vaults to cover expected transactions. When customers want to withdraw more money than usual, banks can order emergency shipments of cash from their accounts at the regional Federal Reserve branch. In all, cash kept in the vaults of all U.S. banks totaled $76 billion during the week of March 11th, according to Fed data. But apparently, the story's not enough. And I think, dare I say it, we may be facing a run on the banks. And I don't know what that will necessarily mean, but if more people try to withdraw money than money exists in the banks, then you get a serious crisis. But keep in mind, the FDIC is insuring those banks. So even if that happens, I think we'll be fine. But to see this story from CNN, you know what, man? The last thing you want to do ever is, in a situation like this, tell someone not to do it. The New York Times wrote a story saying the Surgeon General's messaging on masks was a mistake. The Surgeon General said, stop buying masks. They're not going to help you. We need the masks for medical doctors and nurses because it'll help them. So people then quickly realized, well, if it's going to help the nurses, it'll help me, right? There's an important point to be made. There are special fitting procedures, and you need more than just a mask for it to be effective. But a mask will help to a certain degree. Of course, the result was, as soon as people saw the government say don't buy masks, they ran full speed straight to the store to buy up all the masks. Now there's none. I'll tell you what, man, when the government says don't, people going to do it. Now CNN has this story. Do not take a bunch of cash out of the bank because of coronavirus. And I love how the not is in all caps. It's almost like they're taking their cues from me. But come on, man. When this story comes out, this story came out yesterday morning. I'll tell you what, man. What you've basically done is alerted everyone to the fact that people are scared and taking their money out of the banks. And it's a game of hot potato. Banks only have so much. So people are now thinking, oh, man, if I don't get my cash out now, then there won't be enough for me if I'm late. Congratulations on freaking people out and telling them to go get their cash out. I will stress, you don't need to take out tens of thousands of dollars. I'd recommend having a couple $100 in cash on hand if you can, or just some loose cash, whatever you can pull out. But this idea that people are going to run to the bank and take all that cash is just so dumb. But you know what's stupider? I love it. Love it. The media. Now, I think it's fine if the Wall Street Journal wants to report it's happening. That will probably exacerbate the problem. But hey, we're not here in media to withhold the truth and facts. We're going to give them to you, and there might be consequences. But hey, that's on the people. Now, CNN, you didn't need to write this. I mean, I guess you can levy the same criticism at me because I'm saying something similar, but I think it's more about informing people that it's happening. Look, man, if you want to run to the bank and take out your cash, you do your thing. I just think it's stupid because I'll say it for the third time. You got bigger things to worry about. CNN says, yes, these are scary times, but that doesn't mean you should head to the bank, drain your accounts, and put your cash onto your mattress. That's a really bad idea. Bank deposits are insured by the FDIC. We know that. The Fed, which is essentially America's bank for the banking system itself, can provide emergency funding to financial institutions in times of crisis. It has also slashed interest rates to zero and dusted off several other financial programs from 2008 to ensure that banks have the funds they need. Big banks are extremely well capitalized, but that may not be necessary, especially to the largest banks. The Fed noted in a release on Sunday that big financial institutions have $1.3 trillion in common equity and hold $2.9 trillion in high-quality liquid assets on their balance sheets. This means the top banks have substantial levels of capital and liquidity in excess of the regulatory minimums and buffers, according to the Fed. In other words, there is no need for people to take out big lumps of money from their banks. Your deposits are safe. The banking sector is so much better capitalized right now than it was during the 2008 financial crisis. Regulations have only benefited them. Liquidity is there, said Matt Daly, head of corporate municipal teams at Conning, an asset management firm. This crisis feels a lot different from 2008. That was a true challenge to the plumbing of the financial system. We don't have that now. It's also important to point out we are not facing, first and foremost, an economic crisis. We're facing a virus that may take a long time, 18 months. Everything might wrap up much sooner, but it's different. The housing crisis was a financial crisis. This is not. This is something where people still want to work, but they can't. So it may not matter what's causing it, fine. But I really think that we're facing a different situation. And, I guess it's unfair for me to criticize CNN if they're going to put out this article because I'm saying something similar. They say cash may no longer be king in a Venmo world. This is another really important point. I guess the concern people have is if their bank goes under because of the collapsing market, maybe. But you know what, man? I'm not worried about it. If tomorrow my bank just like dissolved, there is a risk because you got to file you got to file the FDIC claim. You got to figure out how it's going to get paid out, where it's going to go, how it's going to work. And there's some businesses that, a lot of businesses have more than $250 in their accounts. So I think they'll be insured for more, it's like double or something. But a lot of people aren't going to want to deal with it. But I'll tell you what, if tomorrow the banks went belly up, I'd be like, whatever. You know why? Because there would be chaos. It would be pandemonium. It would be bedlam. So, hey, look, do your thing. Don't let me tell you not to, if you want to take care of your family, if you think it's, you know what you need to do, I'm not the smartest person in the world, so you do your thing. I just think it's silly. But it is, I'll say it. It is still scary that people are doing it. Whatever, man. People panic. I got one more segment coming up for you in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.